Okay. Calling the meeting to order. Today is Tuesday, April 21st, 2026. It is 6:03. And this is the regular town council meeting in Virgin. So if we stand, we will be the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That's the same. That's the only I forgot what the liberty. Mistake.
It's not the first time, it won't be the last either, but I think that's
Okay, we will check with everyone, see if anyone has a conflict of interest or anything on the agenda tonight, and I will start with Jim at this time.
No.
Valerie? No. Me? No. Paul?
No.
April? No. Okay. Next item is the consent agenda, which is approval of the minutes of March 11th and March 17th. Wow, we're getting caught up. We are on time now. Okay, I'm just gonna make a motion myself. So I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda, approving the minutes of March 11th, 2026 town council work meeting and March 17th regular town council. So
I'll second it.
all in favor? Yeah. Okay. Okay, Darlene, report from the planning commission.
Did everyone receive somebody?
Yes, we have your thing and it was printed out, and so that was. Crystal, thank you about everything.
Appreciate that. So, we had 3 items up for public hearing, last week. I'd like to draw attention to Lee Ballard's commissioner comments on the good neighbor overlay. And, on the 3 items, on the first one had to do with the fence language, to make sure that the gate at Rio Design and all subsequent types of structures would be in code. There was just one comment by Lauren Campbell, and it was clarified by Lee Ballard, later on during the vote. That the language about height was in a different section of it, but it wasn't either, and he was satisfied with that. That was there were no written comments on that one at all. Second item was the one you sent us on open space. Lauren Campbell spoke to that. He handed town staff a suggested document that would be part of the application and approval packet, so that this kind of stuff on easements is researched prior to plans being approved. Mark indicated that that was in the purview of administrative.
He said that's what. Mark said
Is administrative, and that was for,
doesn't need to be in the code.
doesn't need to be in the code, okay? All that's down there. And the third one was revisiting the revised grading ordinance, and Mr. Matzler, representing the Virgin Town Business and Landowner Alliance, had a couple of things he pointed out. Notice the asterisk and double asterisk. Those are explained in at the end of that section under the third column. One of his concerns was, let me get to the right spot here. Section C, that it should not be, grading permit should not be issued until town has approved all other required permits. And he was questioning, that the use might change. Another concern brought up, was the drainage. Language, the washes, he thought. He thought permits should just be approved if drainage is mitigated, otherwise, in his view, owners can't use land, notice the double asterisk there, explanation is in the third column. Lauren had a question about 60 days, and I believe Mr. Metzler had the same question, but I think Mr. Matzler's question was more about having enough time to get bonding, but Mark was kind enough to explain that this is done. The 60 days starts after everything's been approved for the whole project. And Lauren was comfortable with that. Mr. Campbell was comfortable with that. Then we went to the vote and we voted on two items. The fence item, and that was an all aye. And that's where Mr. Ballard explained or clarified Lauren's question for him. And the second ordinance we sent to you is the open space amendment that you sent to us at Lauren's. Campbell brought this up and that was approved unanimously as well. On the grading ordinance, besides the comments from the public, Riker Stiglitz pointed out that some of the changed language was not included in the draft that was publicly noticed. I believe I wrote that language down in the public hearing portion of it, and that language was added to the motion so that we can change that in the final ordinance. And it was the consensus of the commission that we wanted to look at this one more time during our work meeting before recommending for approval. And at the bottom, you see all the ordinances that are outstanding. The top ones are the ones we sent with a recommendation to approve. Then you see a line, and anything under that line, that recommendation to approve did not pass.
Okay, I will say that your list here of the ordinances that is sent to town council. 1, 2, 3, 4 of them are on for tonight to vote. The open space amendment, fence ordinance, and the 2-family dwelling. The chapter 6.
The open space we just sent to you, yes. The
Yes,
open
that's
space.
on for vote. Fence ordinance is on for vote, and the 2-family dwelling ordinances are on for vote. The chapter 16, the low impact CUP, I have Riker working that. And then chapter 8, unlisted uses are prohibited, is going to probably be covered in the ordinance that Riker is working on. I don't think it's on the list yet tonight, which is the new and unlisted uses. We haven't had that for us to send, right, to planning commission? Or is that on tonight for us to send? The new and unlisted uses.
Yeah, as it was discussed last week under working.
So those two are going to come back to planning commission under a different. What?
Oh, I was going to wait to finish on
Okay.
well, I was going to ask questions about that.
Okay, well, you're gonna ask, we can talk to Ryder about those, because he's working on both of those. And then the parking lot ordinance is the one that's still up in us. Yeah,
Sorry to interrupt. Since I guess it's a matter of procedure, since the planning board sent it to us, it should come to us and then we decide to refer it back down. Am I correct? Because they were
talking about a similar use ordinance.
Then these are ordinances that the planning board's already made a recommendation. And the mayor's talking about Riker making some changes to them. But they should come up to us first and then us decide whether we want to send them back.
Yes.
That's a
Well-
procedural now.
well, he's gonna be presenting the ordinances to us that he's working on, so we can look at it at the same time.
Yeah, that's fine, but I think procedurally we have to send it back.
Fine,
So
we'll do
we
it at
can-
the same time
yeah.
when he brings his ordinances for us to
Just
look at,
making
because
sure
it's
I'm-
on these two topics. Okay. Because the new and similar uses.
Yeah.
The new and similar uses, I'm assuming would, we would include this unlisted uses are prohibited would just be folded into this.
I think those are separate ordinances. I don't think that the new unlisted business use ordinance or the business use classification ordinance addresses the prohibited uses list.
Okay,
They're-
well,
they're
we'll look at it
addressing
together. We'll look at it and say,
And the reason we had that ordinance was at the suggestion of the town attorney.
the unlisted uses.
We should have both a list of prohibited uses and that language.
Thank you. Well, it just seems odd to me that we would have a section that says unlisted uses are prohibited, yet we're now gonna have a code that says, here's what to do if you want to do a new list that's similar to something, but it's not listed.
Yeah.
So we now say they're prohibited.
With regards to business or commercial
It's
uses,
commercial.
that's the distinction. We can have prohibited uses.
In residential,
Yeah.
okay, all
You
right,
can even have prohibited use business uses too. That's not stopping you. That's a clear expression. But it's a methodology of, you can imagine, like City of St. George has a table like 4 pages long of different types of business uses in which zones, and you go down the column. That's allowed in the C1, but not in the C2 or the C3. But we don't have that kind of explicit list, and so the idea behind this is just to simply allow, if someone thinks that what they want to do as a business is liking to or similar enough to, they can go through the process to have that determined by us, if not, or determined, not necessarily determined by us, council, but determined. And if it's determined not to be a similar use, that would start it through its normal development process, then they would have to come back through and go through a land use amendment to have that type of use added.
okay,
But the state legislature wanted that, because there were plenty of business owners that say, hey, I don't meet within your 8 different business uses that are allowed here. I'm kind of like this, but I'm kind of like that, but I'm kind of not. Is this, and how do I get a determination?
well, put. That was the very first, it's item 2 on our agenda, okay. All right, so open forum. Anyone here have any comments about something that is not on the agenda? Hey, Cindy.
Good evenings. My name is Cindy Yesterday. And as you all are aware, I've been here on more than one occasion on the baseline of what I want to talk about this evening, but there's some enhancements to my issues on this. It has to do with, over the past few years, the town mayor and the town council have been working to, at least my understanding is, streamline communications and procedures. And some things have been automated with technology. We have our code enforcement online now that we should be reporting things to. There's, to my knowledge, within the last less than a year, I think, a report a problem icon there that we can now use. And as I've noted in past times, talking to the mayor when she was alone working on this in front of the town council and the town clerk, and then also when the town manager came on, I've come before you and said, you know, there's this software is not real user friendly. There's some things I think we could work on to make it easier for the user and easier for the person who's responsible for fixing it, or to look into it and find out what has to be done or nothing. Such as the fact that you're not able to update anything. When you enter a complaint or a concern, you can't update it. For instance, when I did mine, I forgot a key point. So I sent a second notice right after my first one saying, this is not a new complaint, if you will. This is an addition to what I just sent under this name. I got that second one back and said, duplicate, denied. We should be able to update if we want to if new things come to light. Another thing you're not able to do is to go on the system and review things that have been reported on in the past, or what the resolution was. You can't go back and look at them. Something else we talked about in the past, whoever's assigned that particular issue, there's no name or phone number so that you can have an exchange with that person if you have a question on it. The report a problem, my husband Jose used it last week, to say, you know, prior to playing pickleball, we find we have to clean the courts. Can you try to see that the pickleball courts are cleaned up? Well, lo and behold, when they went to pickleball after that, the courts were nice and clean. Now, we don't know if that was by chance, or if someone really took the initiative to say, hey, you asked about this, we took care of it. There's no communication back and forth. There was no text message, email saying, hey, we got your concern and this is what we've done. You know, to me, these are all good tools out there, but we have to be able to streamline communications, have a two-way interaction, or it's frustration on both sides. And then the last part of the code enforcement, when I first started this, it had to do with my concern about a night sky violation for the Labrie lights on the gas station. Since I did that almost a year ago now, not quite, but getting there, all I got on the report was denied closed. I've come before you saying, you know, I'd like to know what was done and why it was denied, just to understand who did it. Can we talk about it? I've yet heard from anybody. I'm sorry, I don't find that. There should be some accountability. I mean, I don't think this is the most important issue for the town, but if a resident keeps coming back and saying, you asked us to use this software, but these are my problems with it, and nothing ever happens, it's waste of my time and your time. So that's all I have to say on it. I think it's great we have those things, but they have to be done in such a manner that they're effective for everybody. Thank you.
Anybody else with, open forum?
Okay, Dr. Matzler. I kind of hesitate bringing this up, but I'm gonna bring it up anyways. I live on 150 West, it's the Cemetery Road, and I know it's on the budget to be repaved on whatever budget is, as well as 100. And I just want to make sure that we're considering, I don't want to delay that, but I also know that we're gonna rip up the road again to do, or rip up the sides of the road to do the fiber and do the sewer. So you may want to consider that before putting a new road in, to try and schedule that in a way that makes sense. That's my, yes.
Can I ask a question?
Mr. Sagula, so are they doing the fiber up your road?
I was told that they're doing fiber through the whole town, is that not true?
I have no idea, is it on every road?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
and I know it's on the side of the road, but instead of having to go tunnel under the road, they might be able to trench across the road if they're gonna redo the road. And I don't know if the sewer is gonna be in the road or if it's a utility easement on the east side or the water line on the west side.
Okay. The fiber should be done pretty quickly though, right? It should be, their time frame was pretty quick, I don't know what the time frame was. We would have-
3 or 4 months.
Okay.
We got a couple of months.
Hold on,
Normally,
Chuck, you're
you don't
hoping
answer
it's
questions.
sooner, right?
This will be a quick one.
I think I was kind of question.
I don't wanna open a whole can of worms with a bunch of questions, but what's your question?
Uno, and to follow up on what she was saying, what is going on with the night lights? Are you coming here in town now?
You
With all these lights, it's.
Figure you stuff.
I'm just saying, what is going on with the night lights? When you come in here at night now, it's like you're landing on an airport runway. We have some of these new businesses, they're a little bright, and I'm wondering if there's some way, I mean, I realize they gotta have lights, but can't we get them to turn them down a little bit?
We have tried, we've tried, but they're not required. They got their building permit before our dark sky ordinance was put.
Well, let's put up a sign at the entrance to Virgin and say, don't use either of these gas stations at night. Okay, well, if we can't do anything about it, I mean, I know we
It's
talked
not
about
that
it.
we can't do anything about it. We've talked and we tried to cajole these people to reduce their lights, and some they have reduced the lights based on what they used to be.
Yeah, that
They're
one
still
did.
too much.
Yeah, you
I
did
agree,
well.
they're still too much, but they're better than they used
Well,
to.
they have that new one, I hate to pick on anyone, but that new one is really bright, so. Anyway,
Well, ask her, she looks at it every day.
you live right by there? I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'll wait.
Yeah, comment. Okay, anybody else? Mark, I hate to say this, but I cannot remember your last name.
It's probably best.
What's your last name?
It's Ingersoll. No, it's not Ingersoll Rand, it's just Ingersoll, unfortunately.
Yes. That name definitely was not coming to me. I was gonna write down Fletcher, and I don't even know where Fletcher came from. Like, I don't even know anybody with that last name. Okay, now we're at council comments, so Paul. You will go for it, Paul, go through your council comments that you were going to respond to.
No, I think Cindy makes all good points. Hopefully, I see the town manager shaking his head, we'll have follow up on those 4 points.
Yes.
With the dark skies. I know I have the town manager working on some issues with Labrie, because I think he's in violation of a CUP. He's looking into that to see if he is or not. Irrespective, if they are grandfathered in, then in 7 more years from now, they will have to come into compliance.
Okay.
So you're gonna have to put up with a mark for 7 years. until they-
And you've actually spoken to him, somebody's actually gone there and spoken to him from the owners of the new one?
Oh, you have,
One more. I like town managers.
Yeah, thank you, Councilmember Louis, for the opportunity. Staff has actually done a great deal of missionary work with the new gas station. And you may not perceive that when you're driving down 9, but for example, I don't want to get too far in the weeds here, but the canopy has 3 rows. They agreed to only light 1 row. They also agreed to shield every single light on the canopy. They agreed not to light up the canopy, the blue on the canopy after 9 PM. And they've agreed to turn other lights off earlier in the evening, so
Okay.
it's not probably helpful to say this, but it could be worse.
it was yours.
So, thank you.
But the blue light on the Labrie is still on after 9 o'clock.
No, I'm referring to the news and.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, not,
We're still working on that.
Thank you.
But they know what their rights are, and so all we can do is cajole. See, we can,
And, you know,
I know,
no, I said, you know, we talked about the ordinance was after the fact, but when we moved in 16 years ago, there was some level of night sky ordinance.
and that got repealed,
Oh,
and now it's put back in. So there was a time period where it was repealed, and that's when all these businesses got there.
I was unaware that it was repealed in that time slot. In between, I didn't know it ever got repealed, is what I'm saying.
It did.
That would have been helpful in my complaint.
Is the owner of a new location, the owner of that station, you know,
What about the owner?
is he there or she there at that location?
I have no idea.
Okay, maybe I'll just stop you.
We see Labrie periodically, I can drive by and I'll see him wandering around his gas station, but I've never met the owner of his
Okay,
gas
maybe
station.
I'll drop in.
The nephew
works there. What's that? The nephew of the owner works there. Okay, well, that'd be good, just somebody that can connect with the owner.
Okay, April, do you have any council comments? Valerie? The only thing I wanna follow up, I believe. A couple weeks ago, we gave a shout out to our public works guys, and I had the occasion. A Sunday ago to have to call them, which I hate doing at 8 o'clock at night because there was a leak on the road. And Eric and Nick showed up within 15 minutes, and I don't even know whether 911 gets there that quick. But they had it repaired by noon the next day, so just a shout out to those guys and thank you. Jim?
Two things, just following up, how are we doing with our labeling of our town trucks?
The decals are at the printer as we speak.
Awesome. Second thing, I know we've been eliminating some of the public hearing signs, are we going to continue to use them? Or are we gonna eliminate them?
I was not consulted about that, so we'll have to ask the town manager.
Thank you, Mary. The intent is to continue to use those, but perhaps reduce the number that, but as the mayor indicated, I have not had that conversation with her at this point, so I will be.
Okay, so I was at a meeting today, the DTEC, that's transportation, JC Transportation Executive Committee. And while I was there, I asked about, Sheep Ridge Road. And they said they happened to have had a meeting 1 hour before. I asked that question, they had a meeting about Sheep Ridge Road. And, they think about sometime in July or August, they will start work and they will shut, they've got authority from the powers that be. I don't know who the powers that be are. But they got authority from the powers that be to shut the road both ends. So there will be no traffic on Sheep Ridge Road once they start this. What Crystal's gonna have to do is find out all these bike events that have been scheduled throughout Sheep Ridge Road that probably won't really get there. We'll have, like Frog Hollow, one of those, so you'll have to do some work, but they said that there's gonna be. At the hottest time of year is when they're gonna close it, because they expect that to be the least amount of the time when there's the least campers out there. And then they're gonna get started on, everything for the road. Did they give an indication of timeline, how long it'll take? That's what I was told, so I thought everybody would like to know. So that's really, I think, oh, I will go ahead and mention to those of you that are here that, that on May 2nd, you probably already received your flyer, but we're gonna have, a ribbon cutting ceremony and an open house and tours of the new town hall for the public. And that's in conjunction with, the event that's been planned, that's called Spring Social, that's also taking place at the same time. So 11 to 2, on Saturday, May 2nd. Not this Saturday, next Saturday.
And there's also gonna be some, boards on the lacrosse.
Yes, thank you.
That will be there, so you can see what the various parks, trails, recreation plan is coming out of our consultants.
We're gonna have a tent and some tables in there with the proposed, concept plans that they've come up with for the parks. They're really nice. And, there's going to be space on each board for everyone to write comments, about the proposed plans for each park. And so. Just everyone you know, come on out. Yes, everybody come. And they're gonna be hamburgers. Lunch will be served. Okay, so that's all I have for council comments. Okay. All right, on to the rest of the meeting. Okay, item number 1. These are all items that we will be voting on. Item number 1. A resolution designating and appointing a representative for Virgin to the Southwest Utah, Southwest Mosquito Abatement and Control District. And Jean Garati volunteered to be that representative, so this is a resolution to appoint Jean as the representative to the mosquito abatement board. Remember, it had been Jay Lee for years and years, and he no longer wanted to be our representative of the board. So, any questions, any discussion on this? Among anyone? Do we have a number for this resolution? A letter or a number? A letter. Are you really wanting me to ask for public comment, Paul?
So Rose, proceed.
Okay, Paul wants to know, does anyone have any comment, any member of the public have comment about Jean Garati being appointed as the representative to the Southwest Mosquito Abatement Board? Chuck.
Kessler, I think if he's willing to do it, he's a good candidate.
What's the letter?
And
M is in Mary. You know, with all, I was thinking about this today, that with all these resolutions that we're gonna be doing every time we send an ordinance to the proposed ordinance to the planning commission, that we will be past letter Z by the end of summer, and we're gonna be into the double letters. We may even end up with the triple letters at the rate we're going, so. I'm just wondering if it's possible to have a different numbering system for the resolutions. Because we're gonna go A through Z, and there's gonna be double A through double Z, and then triple A, and things are happening, but it's gonna, here we come up with another numbering system.
why don't we do numerical?
The only difference between, if we do them numerical, the only difference between the resolution and the ordinances is the R in front of the number.
Yeah.
But I did wonder about if we went to numbers, would it get confusing?
Numerical.
Yeah.
Okay. We ready for motion?
Yes,
I move that we approve resolution R 2026 M, a resolution designating and appointing Jean Garati to Southwest Mosquito Abatement and Control District Board of Trustees.
I'll second. All in favor? Yes.
Aye.
All right, so the next resolution obviously is going to be in as in November. And this is a resolution initiating. This is a resolution initiating review, sorry. This is a resolution that we will be sending a proposed ordinance to the planning commission. And this ordinance is, the proposed ordinance will amend the Virgin Municipal Code by adopting, we have chapter 62, but we're gonna change that to chapter 46. We voted in our town council and are working to change this to chapter 46.
Well, we did vote what we said we would.
We said, okay, fine. Establishing a process for classifying unlisted business uses, that's what we were talking about earlier. With Darlene was doing her presentation on the planning commission. So we talked about this at our town council work meeting last week. And is there any further discussion on this? Or Mark, is there anything else you need to present to us about this?
Mayor, I'll just add that, it's a change in state law that's initiated. Words.
Okay. Yeah, the, for future, for future, the staff reports. If you would say in here, when it's something like this, where it is coming because of a new requirement from the state code, from the state legislature, if you would just list what bill. Okay,
You want to know Bill or what actually?
Well,
Codified.
he's referred,
10/25/07.
yeah, he's got it on here. He's got that, but when we say this is required by state code, I think it'd be nice if in his report, he just says, this was Senate Bill 97 or 57 or whatever. And then people might want to go look at the bill itself and see what it said, that's all.
Almost read all of the legislative history on the bills.
All the time.
Yeah, when you come see, right in the background, just read legislative history.
Okay, the only thing we, I don't believe we had any changes.
No, we did.
This, other than
We
we
talked
okay.
about, find my funds over in the bar section. Excuse me. Under 166206 classification request procedure. What that was? No, I'm sorry, 166210. Review of new unlisted business, we talked in section D about adding the word reject. The town council may modify, replace, reject, expand, or otherwise revise.
Oh, yes, the reject is
I
not
don't, I
here.
don't see that in here, and also. And section F. Number 2, we talked about changing 60 days to a reasonable time after planning commission.
Within a reasonable time.
Correct. Sorry?
The attorney asks, what does that mean? What does a reasonable time mean?
It's
We talked
normally
about that.
60 days, but we didn't want to put a very specific number on. Actually, I think the state code norm that
Those types
most
of,
people consider a reasonable time to be 45 days, not even 60. I thought 60 was.
all I'm trying to say is the ambiguity of that phrase is what keeps the city attorney this. So, but in all the ambiguous terms you want, I prefer
If you
to.
lose your forward point up pretty good. You still want to stay for a reasonable time? Okay,
It's all gonna be done in a reasonable time.
I know. We trust.
April?
I just had a comment, Riker, you had referred to use tables in your ordinance, and I thought we eliminated our use table. You did.
Where's it referred to the?
There's a couple of places, like,
In,
so right in the description of the proposed ordinance, he says.
But what page are you on?
So this is the staff report. And it says, the staff report. Under description of proposed ordinance, section 2, a 2-track review process for business uses not currently listed in the town use tables. And then also in the ordinance, there's a couple of places that are referring to our
it is
use
in
table.
10C. Let's see, 10C4 refers to tables. And then in 10F. 10F1B, revive any use tables charged in this section. This. And I guess I have a question.
You said C4 and what else?
This is in section 10.
Table 15, yes. It says tables, doesn't say use tables, but
I know, it's just.
tables, okay.
And then in F1B of 10. Revise any use tables charged to it sections. That's it. My question is, as a matter of policy, are we against the use of tables?
No, we just, the use table that was in the ordinance had so many errors in it that we decided to just delete it. I have no objection putting in a new revised use table that is accurate. Other than that, I have no problems.
I see the vast majority of municipalities using.
Using tables, I agree. But the table that was in there allowed uses in like the commercial zone, for example, or that we didn't even have listed in our uses on the zone.
Whether we.
So we just covered it.
Full-time or part-time finance staff that can stay on top and keep the tables.
I have no objection to the tables. None.
Assuming we ever go to form-based zoning, you would have charts and everything else in there, so. But that's down the road, I don't think we have enough staff for that.
Okay, so if I understand right, that the changes we discussed at the work meeting were to put the word reject in section 10D is a list of things that the town council could do when an ordinance comes to them. It just says modify, replace, expand. It didn't say reject. And so we can reject. And then the other was on page 10F2 was to change 60 days to a reasonable time. Regarding that, I mean, it's not just you, all of them, that we keep always. No, I understand, but I'm wondering if we should just increase that to 90 days. I mean, we have Keith here suggesting that we don't say a reasonable time, and I feel like, why are we not following our town attorney, advice? So you're talking about 90 days, because it will be done more quickly than that.
Give them a long rope.
That's the only problem when you do 90 days, that's, I mean, yeah, you can do that, but then if somebody's given them enough time, they're gonna take all the time.
Well, if you say a reasonable time, as Russ is saying, they'll take 6 months and say, well, this is.
This was reasonable.
And what if someone takes 2 weeks?
And if we want to stand firm and say you didn't get it back in a reasonable time, they want to appeal that. You know, it does, then we gotta go through an administrative appeal of the council's interpretation of our ordinance for the community directors.
That's fine, 90 days, 75 days.
Yeah, I think
I like 75 better.
75.
Yes, I like 75 better than 90 days.
Okay.
Then unless the planning commission may have a different recommendation, but let's start with 75.
Okay, so we're gonna add the word reject in 10D. Okay, let me go back and make sure that's the right number. Yes, 10D, we're gonna add the word reject in the list of things the town council can do. In 10F2, we're going to add 70, we're gonna change 60 to 75. And then we proposed that chapter 60, 62 be changed to, I believe it was 46. I'll look it up one last time, be sure it's 46.
46.
That we felt that 62 is putting this section way down at the very end of our list of chapters, when it should be, because it involves the business zones in town, it should be right there with all the zones, which I believe 46 was the next one that was reserved. So we talked about that. Okay, so a motion, this is going to be resolution. Okay, thank you, Paul. Anyone in the public have a comment about this proposed ordinance that we are proposing that will go to planning commission where they will hold a public hearing on this ordinance? I take that as a no. All right, now I will take a motion. And this will be resolution in November. Yes.
Resolution referring it to the planning commission.
The resolution is referring this to the plan.
Public hearing and the recommendation.
Do you guys have any more discussion on this topic? I do not.
No.
No. Okay. I make a motion that we approve resolution R 2026-N as in November. A resolution of the town council of Virgin Town, Utah, initiating review and consideration of proposed ordinance number 2026- Unknown, and amending the Virgin Municipal Code by adopting Title 16, Chapter 46. Establishing a process for classifying unlisted business uses. All in favor?
Are we going to mention the changes that?
Oh, sorry, well. We can, this is slightly different, but yes, I can go ahead and amend it, they know what they are, they're gonna see them when it gets to them.
With the changes
Previously discussed.
second and Bruce.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Yeah, aye. All right. Next, item 3. This will be, I'm sorry, item 4. This is going to be resolution O. A resolution of the town council initiated yet again, resolution sending a proposed ordinance to the planning commission to amend the town code to revising site plan review procedures.
There, you want something. You're right the first.
For 3 was letter N, which we just did.
We're almost two.
That
That was
was-
number 2. We just did.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I wrote my letters in the wrong place.
Your person.
Yeah, sorry, guys. Change all of it. All my things in the wrong place. Okay, so this is resolution N is in November. Sorry, guys, I'm getting myself all confused here, but we are on item number 3, and this is going to be resolution A. And this is a resolution sending a proposed ordinance to planning commission, amending the town code to replace the development review committee with a joint utility committee and designating final plat approval authority. And Heath, that's gonna make you happy. The final plat authority, because you have asked us to change that for quite a while. So we have finally done that. Okay, so. Mark,
Thank you, Mayor. This was discussed at, the work meeting, that fairly recently, amended, DRC, has some issues with it. Riker brought that to staff's attention. It puts outside agencies, the utilities, in a, decision-making role for the town, which is problematic. So this ordinance would separate, and make a JUC, which would be those outside agencies. They would make recommendations to staff. Staff would actually, community development director designate, and the designee will be the town planner. Decisions as opposed to DRC as it relates to administrative land use.
okay, so when we reviewed this, I did not bring with me today my file folder with all the changes we discussed when we did our work meeting. But I verified with Valerie that she has her notes with all the changes. So, well. Whether it was 3 or 10. Right. So we have all of them listed there, so have they been put in here? No.
So, page 22, under 04, D, membership. The, representatives of utility and service providers as follows. Number 2 is the Virgin Town zoning administrator or qualified designee. Nothing there. And we also had a question for Keith about whether this needs to be publicly noticed. These meetings.
Oh, where is that?
I just had a note here, check with Keith on the Open Meetings Act.
Riker made a good point in his staff recommendation that
Because, the JUC is only providing technical support, not making any sort of final decision. And that it's actually an administrative decision of staff who will implement the technical, advice that we received, it is not considered,
Required.
yeah, it's not required.
And then the only other note I have on here is on page, on the sign off documentation. What page is it? It's, 16/20/12, section F. I have a note, but I'm not quite sure where it needs to be. The sign-off sheet may be required as a prior to the issuance of building permits, commencement of construction, or recordation of the final plat. I have a note that says, or other applicable permits. Yes. So maybe that goes after building permits and other applicable permits, or the issuance of building permits or other applicable permits.
Is that on page 25?
25, section F.
Okay.
Yes.
Because-
and the reason we did this is because like conditional use permits, it doesn't list a conditional use permit, just talk about building permits. Yet, conditional use permits would be a permit that needed to be, we want to be sure that that was covered, that's why we added other applicable permits.
I also suggested to Riker, a lot of municipalities have a negative sign off or negative approval process by saying the utility companies are given it, they're invited seat at the table for the meetings, they'll give them plans. If they don't, what happens if, Rocky Mountain Power gets really, really behind and they don't give any comments or anything that after a short period of time, that's determined to be a negative approval by no action is it.
Determined to be a negative.
We may want to consider doing that so that an applicant just isn't kind of held in technical limbo.
So is this something, Riker, that you're going to amend in here before it goes to planning commission? Okay. All right. Was there anything else? I don't know. Okay. But it's freezing here. Well, I think Crystal and I turned the temperature down too. My papers, hold on, my papers are out of order, so let me get them. That was right order. Okay. All right. Public comment, I remember. Does anyone in the audience here have any comment on this ordinance that has to do with the joint utility committee? Remember, this is going to planning commission, who will be holding a public hearing to take public comment on this ordinance. Any comments on the resolution, not the ordinance itself? No one, okay, now we can take a vote.
I move for approval of resolution R 2026-0, replacing DRC with JUC joint utility. We'll call it committee. Yeah, joint. And with the changes mentioned by Valerie to the membership or qualified designee, and then the changes also to and applicable permits in that one section, and with Riker making the changes related to the negative. What did he call it? Negative recommendation.
Negative approval.
Negative approval.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Yes.
Aye.
Okay. Interesting, this ordinance, who typed this? Was this you, Riker?
This is the James one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's got draft recorded up on it, so just making on it. Okay, next one, item 4. This will be resolution P. Resolution, this isn't going to town council, this is no. Yeah, I've got mine right out of order here. But, Riker, staff reports, right in the end, talks about ordinance, and then it's, titled resolution. Well, no, the resolution is sending the ordinance. Right. And his staff report is about the proposed ordinance. Okay. He doesn't refer to the resolution. Got it. Yeah. Now, this one, this next one, does not have a staff report, correct? This one about the fences? I don't see any staff report from you. It's okay if there's not, I just wanna make sure that there's not staff report.
Currently, on the site, and we're on the site.
Yeah, okay, mine around where.
Where's the resolution proposed?
Here it is, okay. I got out of order when I screwed up the listing of the numbers, okay. We are on item 4, which is the site plan review. So this is another ordinance, and this is going to be P. That is the ordinance, a resolution sending an ordinance to the planning commission about revising site plan review procedures. All right, Mark.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, as discussed at last week's, work meeting, currently the town's, code regarding site plans is very basic. There is a reference to it, but it lacks any, specifics or best practices. So town planner, Riker Steglich has, drafted this, ordinance for consideration, defines the review process, the approval authority and standards, and provides a 2-step structure distinguishing preliminary from final site plan. That I'll open up for any further questions.
All right, Valerie, again. Do you have your notes from the only note I have, it was just going straight as is.
Yeah, the only note I have is, regarding, grading ordinance requirements.
Oh, yes, because, that was something that, Jim brought up, whether or not the grading should be done before the site plan. Because this referred to the grading ordinance, and I said, well, the grading ordinance is already at planning commission. They've already had a public hearing, and they've kept it, they're gonna be sending it to us like next month. So we will have the grading ordinance done before the site plan gets heard on the planning commission.
Yes.
Okay. And that was our only question, I believe.
I have a couple of points, but I will make them director with regards to, whether or not improvement completion guarantees would be required for final site plan approval.
And where is that in here somewhere?
Yeah, under, G standards for approval. Talks about improvements of financial assurances. There may be need, and I wonder if we could keep some of this in here, but not make it a standard for approval per se. Because you have, that developer has the ability, once they get their final site plan approved, to go out there and build the public improvements. And if they don't complete it, obviously they don't get their final plat for it. This is final site plan, not final plat. And so at the time of final plat is reported, you either have to have the public improvements built, inspected and accepted by the town, or they have to bond for it, give a financial completion assurance that they will have it completed within a certain period of time. I don't know that requiring that at final site plan would be, so I will talk to him about that. And then I also had,
I had some question about the integration that you guys had talked about between the grading ordinance and final site plan. If someone, I believe, complies with the grading ordinance, which requires them to bring in some level of detail, but they don't have the final site plan done, but they can get a grading permit. I would think that they should be able to grade, clear and rub. But that's, a question. I know the grading ordinance is for them, so.
So you will talk to Riker about this before it goes to planning commission.
Yeah, and so that EKP sends, will have, but those are the only two inputs that I have.
And I wanna go back, before we vote on this one, I just wanna go back to the one we just looked at right before this, which was resolution O. Which was the one about the joint utility committee. And if you pick up your copy of that on page 26.
You're talking the ordinance itself.
The ordinances, well, in the packet, it's page 26. Yeah, different from our work meeting. No, I'm just talking for today's pack, okay, so page 26. So line 199, where it says section 2. Then 202 for final plat approval, the community development director or duly authorized town designee shall serve as the town's administrative land use authority. This is for the final plat approval, this is in the subdivision. This is an amendment to the subdivision chapter, which is the thing you've been asking us to change. So I just want to make sure you saw that change.
Very well over.
Okay. All right. B, resolution B. Any comment from the town audience about this resolution that will be sending the preliminary and final site plan ordinance to the planning commission for them to hold a public hearing? Any comment?
I have just a quick question, if it became more restrictive, because of the site plan review, would that complicate things with existing property owners to purchase under a different set of site plan?
You would, no, you have to comply with the then current rules, and if this ordinance is passed, if you were coming in for a site plan approval, you would have to comply.
Okay, just want to make sure.
All right, I need a motion to approve resolution P as in Paul.
I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution R 2026 A resolution of the town council of Virgin, Utah, initiating review and consideration of proposed ordinance number 2026, amending the Virgin Municipal Code by revising site plan review procedures. Sorry.
All in favor? Yes. Okay. Okay, now we are on to item 5. And this will be resolution Q. So here's the resolution. There it is. The resolution itself is on pages 67 and 68. Thank you. There your packet. Okay, and this is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute this master landscape agreement with UDOT for the, I'm sorry. I feel that.
You're on a roll.
Okay.
It's in here.
This is a resolution that authorizes the mayor to sign, execute the master landscape agreement with UDOT for improvements within the right of way along Highway 9. So Heath, I don't know if you had a chance to look at this, but I'm not sure that UDOT is going to accept any kind of changes because this is their agreement.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Can I ask a couple of questions?
yes,
Is there a desire and intent on behalf of the town to landscape within the UDOT right of way?
Yes. So we have, this is over here from our master transportation plan that we adopted a couple of years ago. And it's got, let me get it, I'll show you. It's got landscaping for Highway 9, connector roads and local roads. This over here is Highway 9.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna have design corridor trail, it's gonna be a multi shared path. And so we're gonna have bike paths, there's gonna be a turn lane all the way down the road. Bike lane and sidewalk, on this side is the shared path and this side is the cycling. May take 10 years. But we at least get the agreement. And this is here, and you guys want to look at it.
And I read the proposed agreement from my study. We have the intention to do this because if we don't, I would highly advise that we don't enter into this.
How come?
Because if individual landowners are wanting to do some landscaping beyond their property into the UDOT right of way, if we sign this agreement, we are legally charged with enforcing
Yes.
that, maintaining it. If it becomes a safety issue, if we don't take care of it, UDOT takes care of it, guess who they send the bill to?
Us, yes. Well, you don't explain that they will not let a private property owner do anything in the UDOT right of way. The only people, it's only the municipality can do stuff in the UDOT right of way.
What about a turnoff to Zion White Bus?
There is a turnoff there right now. But,
Turnoff
that is,
portion.
but that was done as part of the highway. I mean, UDOT did that, that wasn't us. And it wasn't signed by Bison. I believe UDOT put in that, right turn, the right turn, and then there's a left turn lane to turn
Zion
in.
White Bus.
Okay,
Built it to UDOT standards with UDOT approval.
okay,
To
But UDOT
the
do all
extent
that.
that they have the obligation individually to maintain that. Until UDOT wants to expand the full width of the right of way to basically eat that up. So you have normal road width, that's their approved road that they have the obligation to maintain, and they will maintain it. And they will maintain all of the area outside it in native grass that doesn't require a lot of mowing and things like that. But if we go to put in any city approved improvement that connects onto a city piece of property, not city owned, but privately owned, there needs to be an agreement between the landowner and UDOT to do that, which they did. Okay?
Zion White Bison.
Zion White Bison did. Now, if we sign this, now we have the obligation to become UDOT's lackey.
Well, I know that they will not, I believe from this, they're not going to mow the highway. That's up to us now, because
Well,
that's
so-
UDOT right of way.
So,
We sign
if-
this.
and we have to agree to indemnify, defend and hold them harmless from all liability. So if someone sticks a sign out there and there's a bad car crash. And there's a fatality or serious injury, which the town has been. Subpoenaed for documents and records for and things like that, if UDOT's ultimately held any sort of liability for that. Guess who has to agree to indemnify, defend and hold them harmless? The town.
Okay,
So
so you're saying don't do this until we're ready to actually, do we get the financing or ready to actually do the real?
yeah, I have my real reservations right now. They have to enforce it against private property owners or have an agreement with them. And they enforce the agreement, or if someone decides that they wanna plant beautiful wildflowers right out in front of their property. That's growing so tall that it's obstructing sight distances. And they need to go to the property owner and say, you need to mow this down. It's them doing it, and if they don't do it, UDOT mows it down, they send the bill to the private property.
Okay,
We're not involved in that, it's their right.
okay,
But we sign this, we are involved in it,
Okay.
and we're liable for anything that gets placed out there. We have to be the monitor, the police.
and the indemnifier
Okay,
of it.
all right. So how do we get funding to landscape the UDOT right of way if we don't have an agreement with them to landscape the UDOT
We
right?
send them, we send alongside any sort of application, we have this proposed agreement that when we obtain funding, we will enter into this
Okay.
agreement
Okay,
and utilize the funding as such. We don't have to have the agreement in
it's
place.
set in place in order to apply for funding, okay? Well, eventually that Zion Corridor Trail, right now it's down in Laverton. And they just have to get up the hill. And then it's coming into Virgin, but they're not gonna be able to do the trail because it's coming in the UDOT right of way. And only the town can landscape the UDOT right of way. They will not let anybody else.
But they'll let them put a trail.
There. That is not what the, when I read all the administrative rule,
I read
all administrative.
I read the history of those two very closely.
And, it talked about that the municipality is the one that can,
Put improvements.
put improvements in the UDOT right of way, but no private property
Local
owner.
jurisdiction, that's the term used in the administrative regulations.
Yes,
And so if we've got, who is building,
the county,
okay,
is Greater Zion,
they're
It has
the
got
local
that little
jurisdiction, they also qualify as a local
Okay.
jurisdiction, so they will have an independent agreement with UDOT to put that trail up through
Okay.
here. They will be responsible to maintain it, if it goes into disrepair, UDOT sends them notices, and if the county doesn't fix it, or if we have an agreement with the county that will maintain it, they'll put the push on us, but for the time being, just to get the trail through here,
Mhm.
we don't have to.
so the county will do it and we'll have the agreement with UDOT. Okay,
They will have like a local authority is the terminology. They will have an agreement to place public improvements within their right of way. And in that agreement, it'll say that they have to maintain it and keep it up. That they have the ability to have another local jurisdiction maintain it for them, which the county will probably ask us to maintain it as it goes through our town. But, so ultimately, the maintenance of that trail might have to, lie with us, but the county has the contractual obligation, the obligation to indemnify, defend, hold UDOT harmless. And all we're sitting here doing is maintaining it in some sort of interlocal agreement with the county. I read this and I'm like, holy cow, they are, because of the ambiguity in that administrative code, that's why they're trying to get cities to sign this type of thing, to make them.
so then
UDOT
UDOT
flags.
has, okay,
And they have a contract with the municipality to be their lackey,
okay,
so.
all right. I guess we're gonna start trying to find some funding.
But are
Okay,
we looking just to get landscaping done before they redo the road?
no, I would have, no, they're not gonna redo, that would be part of it. With this whole thing is gonna.
But we're not.
require-
No, I know, I definitely, yeah, but we're still, it's how many years away? We're
Like-
top 5, 6.
Oh, I would say probably 10 years.
Okay.
Okay.
May I ask a question? Yeah, another one?
Okay, this is the public comment,
It's a question.
but it's the public comment part,
Okay.
okay?
It's a paved trail. How far is the town of Virgin gonna be responsible for that? I would assume to the town limits. And secondly, what if you have bikers on there that are going way too fast? Wouldn't the town also have an obligation to regulate somehow with speed control signs and things of that nature? So that's just something to consider when you're doing this, because there is an exposure there.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And we have to balance the public benefit of the trail system. Which,
I've
some
seen
people
this,
consider that a public benefit.
yeah, I've seen the proposed signs that are gonna be put on the trail.
Yeah.
They're very nice signs
But
that
we
have
would be
been proposed,
responsible.
but, okay,
Although we
you contract our law enforcement to the county.
Yes.
Ultimately, it's the county who enforcing it if somebody was speeding on a trail.
Well, that's it, you have signs and people are regularly speeding on that thing, you're not doing anything about it. I mean, I realize they would have negligence, significant negligence, but town would get exposure if they weren't, you know, controlling.
Okay, so are you proposing that the county is going to come to us and ask us to maintain the trail once it does come in through?
They're gonna fund it and build it. And, but they're gonna probably go to all the municipalities and say, the portion of this trail through your municipality, we want you to sign an interlocal agreement that you'll maintain it.
Okay.
The county doesn't like maintaining trails through municipalities. They have no real
Just in the
purpose in doing
county.
that, but they like to fund regional recreational projects like this type of trail.
Okay. Fine. Do we table this until we have funding? Or just deny it, whichever is the most appropriate way to go
Well,
forward?
to table, then it goes to the next meeting, so you don't,
Oh, okay, yeah.
you could defer to its appropriate time, and we could just bring it back when.
What about we table it until we have, funding and a plan?
That'd be 10 years from now.
That's fine.
It needs to be deferred.
So you guys do it indefinitely until funding.
Funding and a plan for the landscaping, then we can bring it off the table. So. if
So
we're ready-
hopefully, two town councils and mayors in the future will know, hey, there's this ordinance
That's why you have
that's been tabled.
full-time staff like Mark.
Unless we make a goal to get the funding and a plan in place before we leave off.
Well, I would love to do that.
Or you can just recommend not to approve, not authorize the mayor to sign an agreement this full time. You do that too.
I don't know, whatever you guys decide, however procedural.
I looked at we tabled this landscape agreement and landowner agreement indefinitely until there is funding in place and a landscaping plan on which to utilize the funding that we put in place.
I'll second.
Before we vote. This is just setting aside your having the word's not coming to me. Your motion. Your motion was to set aside the agreement, not the resolution. So we have a resolution number. Do we need to
To table it, for resolution.
Okay. And does this then say that resolution Q remains as resolution Q that has been proposed indefinitely, or we now use that number again? Okay, all right. So moved, okay. So seconded. Okay. All right, all in favor? Okay.
Thank you.
Right, yeah, thank you. Okay.
You got your money today.
And that's an actual ordinance, not a resolution, an ordinance. Okay. Yes, thank you. I read through all that stuff.
I said I read through all that stuff on that landscape agreement.
So you'll be prepared, so yeah, just make sure prepared, when we get the funding. Okay, so, next, item 6 is, what is this ordinance number going to be, Crystal? 3. What? 3? Seriously? This is ordinance 3, meanwhile, we're on resolution Q. We've made this. Believe me? Oh my goodness.
That means we're referring to what?
To what?
So adopting.
Okay, wow, okay, guys, this is ordinance number 3. We're doing very well this year. Okay. An ordinance, ordinance 2026-3, an ordinance of, Virgin Town, Utah, providing that the code be amended to revise section 16.8.30 subsection A, providing for an exception to fences being located solely on owner's property for traffic calming measures. Mark, turning this over to you.
Thank you, Mayor. Council will recall, this suggestion for this ordinance came up during the discussion of the Rio de Sion gate, which included some structures within, the public right of way related to that gate. Councilmember Louis that suggested it and actually drafted this, so it's kind of a companion piece for future encroachment agreements that may be similar in nature. And yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Line modification was just fine.
Okay, so is there? We talked about this at the work meeting. Were there any proposed changes by the town council, or are we ready to pass it as it was presented to us? Yeah, I don't have any.
Then I move for approval of ordinance 2026-3, amending that the Virginia Municipal Code be amended by revising section 16.8.30A, providing for an exception to fences being located solely on owner's property for traffic calming measures.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
I,
All right. Next ordinance is ordinance 2026-4. And the ordinance amending title 16. Chapter 36 of the town code. Adding section 36.06, establishing applicability of the open space district and renumbering the subsequent sections. So we inserted a new section in there, which was section 6, and then we had to have renumber some of the subsequent sections. Yes, 06 through 36.12 had to be renumbered. And this is indicating that our use standards, prohibited uses, et cetera, are not going to apply to lands administered by the BLM, the state of Utah, or any other federal, state, or governmental agency. And this was, we had a public hearing, there's a public hearing, we had a special hearing, we had all sorts of things on this. So are we ready to vote on this as is? Any last changes by anybody? No. Okay, we've had enough discussion of this here at this table. Did you need to say anything about this, Mark, or?
Thank you. Covered it very well.
Okay, thank you. I just realized I skipped right over, so having to make a comment.
You're fine.
So, I'll take a motion.
what is the ordinance number?
It's going to be.
Make a motion to approve ordinance number 2026-4. It's in Title 16, Chapter 36 of the Virgin Municipal Code to add section 36.06, establishing applicability of open space district and to renumber subsequent sections thereof.
I'll second. All in favor? Aye. Yeah.
Aye.
Okay. So we get to the last two, last two ordinances on here for us to vote on. These both have to do with two family dwellings. We talked about both of these at the work meeting. And you weren't here, April. I don't know if you listened to anything to see what we talked about with regard to these two ordinances at the work meeting. But I will let, Mark, is he spoken here? On one, one recommend, one.
I have one cover letter for
Or
both.
both. Okay, that's what I want to know, just one cover letter for, okay, all right.
So both of these, thank you, Mayor, both of these come, from the planning commission. The first one, they considered back in September. It refers to two-family dwellings. And also refers to establishing a village overlay. The second one is from October. There was actually a typo, one abstention, so it comes to the council without a recommendation. The motion was to approve, and it failed on a typo, as I said. This ordinance would allow for two-family dwelling use in commercial zones. With that, I'll open it up for any comments or questions or discussion.
I do not think that multi-family housing belongs in the commercial zone. And I think we need to create a zone for multi-family housing and locate those zones in areas of the town that are approved by the residents, and they get a chance to take a look at these zones and let's go that way. I don't think it's appropriate for housing, multi-family housing to be in the commercial zone. I mean, we talked about when we voted to change the zoning on rural residential to commercial. The reason we did that was because commercial zoning creates developments that add to the income or the revenue of the town. And I don't see how multi-family housing would really provide that we say that's the use that we want in commercial development. Commercial zones.
I too, don't think that, multifamily housing belongs in a commercial zone. I'd rather see, an overlay zone perhaps in, rural residential land. I really don't want to see two-family houses lining SR9, that's not what the general plan indicated, and that's my opinion.
I do believe they can work in certain instances in commercial zones. It's acceptable. We have single family dwellings permitted in commercial as we speak. We're just stretching to go towards that affordable housing level. In my opinion, I think it's a step in the right direction to work towards affordable housing.
All right. Ready for a motion? What we're going to do, we are number one, which was just the straight, allowing,
That's the one in September.
yes, that is 8-1.
Pardon, if I may, actually, the one from September, the first one
Is number 2,
is. Oh, you're right.
yes, but number 1,
Fine.
what's number
Fine,
1,
fine.
yeah, what's number 1 on the agenda is
I
this,
see.
that's what I was spending some time, we were trying to go, wait a minute, why are I think they're backwards, but it doesn't matter, we're gonna order it, we'll vote on this one. I just wanna say one other thing, I think the size, yes, we talked about the size. Right, I think that is, way too big.
But it goes along with what we allow in residential and rural residential. And now, trying to change that, it complicates. In my opinion, that's all, complicates. Building anything. Making, if we want to change what is allowed currently in rural residential, that's a different subject matter. But keeping it in line,
Commercial.
right, I know, but keeping this in line with what's already existing. Not changing the sign, we already have that allowed in the rural residential zone. Keep that size limitations in the commercial portion of it as well.
Okay. So. We're ready for a motion on this one. This would be ordinance 2026-5. Either it has 25 on.
Which ordinance are we doing? You're still confusing me.
I know.
The one in SharePoint that is 8C or 8B.
Should be short title, two-family dwelling.
Oh, it's got that short title on it, okay.
Am I correct, Commissioner?
I don't know, I don't have SharePoint up. I can tell you what it says on Share. Yes.
Okay.
Just to be sure. That you're looking at the right one, right? It's for this.
I was, as soon as he said, I knew.
What does the other one have as a short time? Doesn't have a short time.
So I am 20 years talking.
Okay.
Well, we might as well get this one.
Okay, no, I was
Oh,
waiting for you.
sorry.
Yeah,
No, I'm looking at,
I'll
I'm looking at both of them.
yeah, I was giving you time. I wasn't gonna rush you with your review.
Yeah, no, I've reviewed both of them.
Okay, you're okay.
I just want to know which one we're voting.
Okay. All right. I'm ready for a motion from someone.
I would like to make a motion to approve ordinance 2026-5, short title, two-family dwelling ordinance.
I will start with April. We need a second. No, sorry, we need a second, sorry. Okay, if there's no second, do we have an opposing motion? I move, we deny ordinance 2026-5, two-family dwelling ordinance. I'll second it. Okay, I will start with April.
We're voting in favor of denial, forget.
Yeah, correct. Paul.
Aye.
This actually still has Misty's name here. Let's see here, hold on. Paul, you already voted, right?
Yes.
Okay, just trying to fix this ordinance and I forgot where we were. Valerie? Yes. Jim,
No,
and I am going to abstain.
I don't think you can abstain.
Why can I not?
Well, abstain is, no. Usually we consider it a no.
I
If it
understand.
can carry the vote, if you can carry the vote based off having a body present, she can't abstain actually.
Thank you.
But I think
figured I
it's,
could.
think it's effectively, opposite.
Essentially, yes, but it would still, The motion to reject or deny this ordinance
already-
is approved.
Before I
With with one abstain,
okay,
or three,
3-1,
three,
3-1.
Valerie's like, he didn't count.
Okay, so next that brings us to item 2. Which is the other ordinance that had to do with 2-family dwellings. Did you want to say anything about that, Mark? I know we already talked about your, memo. But is there anything you want to say on this one?
I think the only comment is that this particular one is somewhat incomplete in the sense that while it refers to two-family dwellings, it does not make it a use. If and until a village overlay is defined, which is not.
And Riker, you had some comments. Is it appropriate to ask the planner for comments on this? Okay, I thought so, but I want to be sure, given that this is a new procedure. I should have asked you if you had any comments on the other, and I forgot, I'm sorry. You had some thoughts on this one.
Yes, just to concur with Mark, this ordinance only establishes standards for use, it doesn't establish the use in any existing zone, in the code.
Well, and it refers to village overlay.
And what happens if we, if these standards get put in and we have no zone that even allows this use, what does it do?
Nothing.
And,
Mayor,
yes, I knew you were wanting to say something.
yeah, a suggestion was, given to me today by Lee Ballard that says, why don't we just delete the portion in a village overlay and instead say, delete that portion and say, if allowed in an overlay adopted by the town. So this would apply to any overlay if the town eventually adopts it. That's just a suggestion.
Okay,
Then it doesn't have to be a village overlay, it'd be any overlay adopted.
and that is an option, and she and I had talked about that. However, when, Riker and I talked about this, what his concern was is if we put, Riker was concerned that if we adopt standards for a 2-family dwelling, but we don't allow it anywhere, that this certainly gives a developer, the idea that we do allow these.
Clearly, I mean, it doesn't give them a legal right. They don't have any vested rights by the mere fact that we adopt a definition of the standard. But it can be argued, and creative attorneys can always try to argue somehow, but yeah, it does not create any sort of vested right because it's not allowed in any zone or overlay zone that we currently have.
And when we discussed this ordinance in, November extensively at the November meeting. And, we had disagreements about floodplain versus floodway. Remember that whole discussion?
Absolutely.
And, we talked about, height, we talked about, water and sewer requirements. What we ended up saying, and then there was this question about land suitability also. That's where the floodplain and floodway came in that discussion. But, also this was making the, even though it doesn't say it outright, this was making duplexes, a conditional use, not a permitted use. And you had to get a permit. And then your permit could be revoked, where if you didn't follow the laws, the question was, well, if you built a duplex and then you had your permit revoked, what do you do with your duplex? You built the building. And, so we talked about all this, and I had in my notes in November that we had my notes wrote on it Ordinance not ready, needs more work. That's what I had that we discussed in the November meeting. And we have not, done anything about it since then. So. So I don't think that just deleting the words in the village overlay is going, that does not address all the other issues that came up in the November meeting. That only addresses the question of zoning. It doesn't address all the other stuff that we talked about. It was a long discussion.
So he, don't a lot of municipalities have a multi-family zoning areas? Zoning?
Yeah, I think I've asked for a workforce housing overlay zone for 3 years, since 2023 I brought it up. And, that's what I was calling it 3 years ago. Now, of course, I would not call it that. I would call it something different, more like multifamily housing overlay zone or something like that.
I asked the question, why are we fixated on the concept of doing this as an overlay? And not create just a separate
Don't create a separate zone.
So if someone can apply for it, it has to go through, and we are acting legislatively whether
Yes.
we approve it or not.
Yes, I have no problem coming up with a zone. A zone that allows multifamily housing, whatever we would call the zone. I have no question with that, no problem with that,
Because when
however,
you're trying to overlay it into an existing zone, you have to then designate all these differences between the standards of the underlying zone and what you're doing with this overlay, and you're really just rezoning it. Because you have to go through the exact same process, public hearing, a planning commission, recommendation, go to council just to adopt the overlay zone.
I'm not focused on an overlay zone.
Okay.
My entire thing, all my question is do we adopt standards for duplexes when we don't allow them anywhere? That's all I'm asking, and that's all this does, is it puts it
You asked me if
together.
you could, and I said, yes, you
We
can.
can, and now the question is, should, the next question is should. Why would you?
Yeah, so why waste?
Why waste the, okay. And so your recommendation is no, why?
Why not adopt them?
No, I said, yes. Why would you say, no, we should not adopt standards for duplexes? I'm not saying I want to adopt them, I'm not saying I don't want to adopt them, I'm asking you, when I said, should we? You said, yes, we can adopt this, and my next question was, should we? And you said no, and I'm asking why no.
Why no? Because it does give the appearance that we contemplate it and allow it, but we don't. The nuance of it all is our ordinance doesn't, even though we have a definition and some standards. So until we're ready to implement 2-family dwellings in this town through either a zone or an overlay zone, why adopt it?
Okay.
Why create the confusion? Why?
Okay.
As town attorney, I'm trying to avoid any sort of unnecessary litigation or claims or anything made against the town administratively or legally, so.
Okay,
I think that he's putting the cart before the horse.
okay, so. We talked about this last week, we've talked about it now, we've heard our town attorney's recommendation. We've heard Reichler with his comments, so, are we ready to vote on this? Make a motion, someone make a motion, we're ready to vote, or what? And this is the last thing on our agenda, that we can adjourn and vote on.
I move that we deny ordinance 2026-6. An ordinance updating, clarifying, amending various section of Virgin Municipal Code Title 16, Chapter 8, supplementary and qualifying regulations to add language for limited 2-family dwellings and to amend sections on building height exceptions, water and sewer requirements, land suitability, and height of accessory buildings.
I'll second it.
All right, April, so this is a motion to deny, just like the one we just did.
Aye.
Okay, wait, I'll give my page where I'm marking on this. Oh,
I have been arguing for a transition zone of multifamily since I arrived on that town council 5 years ago. So my goal is in because I think we need a transition multifamily.
Jean, no, I'm sorry, yes.
Oh, mine,
Yours, okay,
yes, mine says aye.
oh, I thought your vote was no. Okay,
Yeah,
I marked the wrong one for you.
it's because we're doing it in the negative. I'm usually used to positive motions. But we did the negative motion, so
So this is the motion to deny.
aye. Motion to deny.
Okay. All right, making sure we're on the same page. And that is my vote to Valerie? Yes. And, Jim?
Aye.
Okay. All right. So both of these were denied. And so we have, motion to adjourn. Unless there's anything anybody else wants to say?
No, I just, we only start working on multifamily, zone.
Yes, I've had an idea of how to do it. I talked to Valerie tonight before the meeting about how to do it. And I already talked to Viper and Mark about it. And, as soon as we have the groundwater protection study, which we thought we were gonna have that. Some months ago, but we will have it by, June, June. It's final. It's final, it's been to peer review, now, all they have to do is print out the final and go do the presentation of the division of water quality. And so I was waiting for that, because I had an idea, but I need that to support my idea. So I move we adjourn. Second. All in favor? Yeah, you said I, yes, I have favor. Okay.